What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Mike Talk with your host, Mike the Realtor. You know, when I was younger, I would say about 13, 14 years ago, I loved to act. I loved to write. I wanted to get into that more, but I really didn't have direction or just guidance. And of course, we fast forward to today and you come across people that, you know, you've admired for so long. And I figure, you know what? I got to get people on this podcast that not only make an impact in community, not only make an impact in what they do in their career, but how can they help others? And I always said that when I start this podcast, I just love the people's stories. I want to share them with you and also be informative in how can we help others. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you not only a good friend of mine, but he is a public speaker. He is a producer. He is a writer. He is a comedian. Well, he's always a comedian. I think he wakes up and goes to sleep making people laugh. I mean, he's all these things, an extensive resume. We're going to learn so much about him and how young comedians can break into. Let's get a big hand to my guy, Mikey O, Mikey Kendall. Thanks for being on my show today, Mikey.
What's up, man? How are you, Mike?
Woo, I'm stoked to have you on. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of your time. I know you're always busy, but to talk to us and talk to my audience. And I'm excited to hear what's going on. How have you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. First of all, thank you for having me on, and good morning or good afternoon to your audience, whatever time you're watching. Excited to be with you here, man. I call you the king of branding because you are the branding king. You are everywhere, and that's así se hace. That's how you do it. Matter of fact, I took a shower this morning with my Mike the Realtor soap. I had my soap.
You know, we got to start giving those out more often. How's it smell? Pretty good? Still working on it.
Yeah. Oh, really good. Yeah. I smell like a half pint of Southern Comfort now.
Perfect. I gotta upgrade to Blanton soon. You know, some better. Maybe we'll get a tequila soap for you.
There you go. There you go.
Mikey, I know you're busy, but you're all over the place. But people see the Mikey O today. They don't see, or maybe some of them don't know the trials and tribulation, the hard work, the late nights. And I know you still do that today, but to get to where you are today, it took a lot of work. Tell me, how did you find yourself as a comedian? I know you were funny, but how did you make this a career and as a staple of a Latino comedian in Chicago?
Well, you know, I always say that I very rarely will identify directly as a comedian. I grew up, you know, like everybody else. I grew up, you know, like everybody else my age. I grew up watching Sanford and Son, Chico and the Man, Hogan's Heroes, Gilligan's Island, you know, I Dream of Jeannie, I Love Lucy, all of those, Bewitched, right? I go so far back to Petticoat Junction, and most people don't even know what that was. You know?
No.
But the little pig in Petticoat Junction, that was my dude, you know?
Wow, that's so funny.
So you know, you grew up in the same situation I did. We grew up in the neighborhood, right? And we had to find humor in the lives we lived, right? Because they weren't necessarily easy lives, right? Ruben Blades has a great saying, you know, we weren't poor, we just didn't have any money, you know?
That's
because we were rich in other areas, right? We had family, we had love, we had hugs. We had guys in the neighborhood that, you know, that we grew up with that, you know. So as far as the whole comedian thing, I don't know where the humor comes from. I think my mother probably, but I always wanted to be Johnny Carson, or I wanted to be, you know, David Letterman, or I wanted to be I wanted to be the host of the show, El Entrometido, right? The show off, right? Of the show. Yeah. I started doing these little shows here and there, and I decided one day I was just going to start doing a comedy room. And it basically started, you know, with, there were no Latino comedians in Chicago. There was Alex Ortiz, who's now on the road and doing big things. Patty Vasquez, who's now on the road and doing big things. Ricky Carmona, who is
Mm-hmm.
now Ricky
Right.
Carmona started with us on our show, and he's now the writer for Tosh Point oh,
Look
you
at that.
know, on Comedy Central, one of the writers. But the point is that I don't know that I ever woke up and said I want to be a comedian. And to this day, I really don't identify as a comedian. It's the Mikey
Interesting.
O show, and I'm the host of the Mikey O
Interesting.
show. And, you know, that's kind of like where it all started.
That's amazing because you said there were not Latino comedians, but you just mentioned three. That's very minimal. You were
Three,
right, three, and you were
three.
the foundation then. Because today,
Yeah,
how many come
yeah,
out of your school of hard knocks per se, right? Because
yeah.
it's like now we have multiple. I mean, a lot of them.
Multiple. Yeah,
Yeah, tell us
yeah,
a little bit about
yeah.
that. How did that
When I
go?
started doing this, there were three comedians that I could count on.
Hmm.
But I met those one on one and individually. The absolute king of Latino comedy in Chicago, the absolute king, the very first one is Alex Ortiz. That's
Hmm.
the very first one. Alex Ortiz, for those of you who don't know, it went to Clemente, went to the Army, came out of the Army, started doing
Awesome.
comedy, and he was the first Boricua from Chicago to win, if you remember, Showtime at the Apollo.
Remember that.
And then he
Wow.
won the Miller Genuine Draft, comedian, blah 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 blah. And he was on, BET and everything else. He was on fire, man, because he was from Chicago, and he was absolutely, and he still is what they call him, the Boricua Beast of comedy. But that was the first one. And then I met Ricky Carmona, and then I met Patty, and then we didn't even know what to call my show because I was the host,
Hmm.
and I was fair at best as a host because I didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
But I would go to the Blanquito comedy clubs, and one of the beautiful things about comedy, I've never experienced any kind of racism or
Sure.
any kind of prejudice in comedy. Uh, the thing is that what I wanted to do was tell stuff about the Latino experience, and when you're in an all non-Latino club, they don't laugh, and it's not because
Wow.
you're not funny. It's because they aren't Latino and they
They
don't
don't
they don't get
understand the
it, right?
culture.
So
Right.
right, they don't understand the culture. So it was important for me to start my own show. And
Amazing.
it was a hobby, by the way, Mike. It was a hobby. If somebody would have told me that 20 years later I'd be putting on a show at the Kennedy Center across the street from the White House in March of 2022, I'd have been like, no,
No. Wow. Wow. You see, that
crazy.
goes to show, right, that when you do the things you truly love, that brings sometimes even therapeutic, right? It's sometimes therapeutic. Like this to me, Mikey, to be here and listening to your story and sharing them with people, that to me is therapy. I love it, right? And so to think that today, this is where you're at, well, it took a lot of hard work. Now you have so many Latinos that are running after you to say, hey, give me a shot, right? And so speaking of like Kennedy Space Center, I mean, I did see you were in New York City. Now, you were with William Levy. Now, a lot of people were like, what? William Levy has nothing on you, bro. That picture, look, we're going to
Yeah,
put it up. That's going to be about part of our B-roll. Look at that.
yeah,
Look at that. Look how handsome you are, bro. Look at that.
yeah.
William Levy was jealous, wasn't he?
Well, I'm going to tell you the story of William Levy, just so you know. First of all, that picture was taken in Chicago at the
Hmm.
Mexican Fine Arts Museum. And here is the story about William Levy, in case people wonder what's his fascination with William Levy. Check this out. So, William Levy makes People magazine,
Hmm.
and they put William Levy on the cover of People magazine, the hottest, best looking man in America. So I posted that and I commented, William Levy is a very good looking guy, but I think I'm better looking, as a joke.
Sure.
And this flurry of homophobic posts started going on my page. Why would you call another man good looking? We're going to question you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, I bet you'd like to give it to William, right up the butt, stuff like that.
Are
And
you?
I thought to myself, how stupid and how homophobic those comments were. So what did I do for the next, one guy in particular was mostly the offender. It was only two or three people, but one guy was the biggest offender. So for the next month, I kept photoshopping myself into pictures with William Levy, and posting it on his page. We're dating now. We're going out now, And I was slamming the guy. So I became this like William Levy thing. And then I did that for about 2 or 3 years. And then I get a phone call, right? You want to meet William Levy? What? You want to meet William Levy? And I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm his, agent, his handler, and William Levy's going to be at this location. And I have an opportunity for you to meet him. Would you like to meet him? I see your post all the time about William Levy. They're hysterical. And I'm like, yeah, I want to meet William Levy. Bro, can you believe this? Now, I think I'm going to a place where there's going to be thousands of people. Michael, it was me and William Levy. That's it. In this room. There was a couple other people like photographers and bodyguards, but it was me and William Levy.
Amazing. Like, I mean, you were starstruck, right? You were starstruck.
I couldn't believe it, man. I could not believe it. But it's interesting because he asked me, jokingly, how did you become my biggest fan in Chicago? I said, I was trying to fight a stereotype, a homophobic stereotype. He goes, what? I go, yeah. Some guy posted some nasty stuff about questioning my sexuality and because I called another man handsome. Now, look, I'm in show business. I've had agents tell me I was not good looking enough for a part. I'm okay with that. Doesn't bother me. You know what you're looking for when you're casting for something.
Sure, true.
You need to work out more. You need to be thinner. You need to be taller. You need to be smaller. You need a bigger mustache. That happens.
Yeah.
So I've grown accustomed to saying, Michael, you're a pretty good looking guy.
Man, that's true.
And I don't see an issue with that.
No,
but for some people, when you say it's a good looking guy, people, the homophobes pop out of everywhere. And so it worked to my benefit.
I was about to say where people were hating, it actually worked to your benefit, right? And so
it did.
So, I mean, and at the end of the day, you're still moving strong. And also it's like, it hinders the person that's hating, right? We're going to all have those haters to an extent. And it's like, look, you're not going to slow me down. In fact, it fuels me. Right. And so I don't. Yeah. So that's an amazing story. And it's a perfect segue, because when you talk about you're in show business, you see, all these people going to your shows. Do you ever get like a young comedian who comes to one of your shows and says, I want to do this, but I'm scared?
Yeah. Yeah. We get that all the time. And we get people who are new jacks all the time. And, one of the things that, I always encourage is just remember this. Whether you're making a presentation about buying a house, whether you're making a presentation to a room full of politicos, whether you're making a presentation on stage at a comedy show, or whether you're doing an assembly at your kid's school, you always got to remember this. You can't go to jail or get beat up or be murdered for being bad. And those are the worst possible 3 things that can happen to you.
That's good.
So who cares? Get up there, let it go. Okay. Deal with the anxiety, deal with the jitters. Once that's over, people sometimes say, aren't you afraid to walk out in front of this audience every single night?
Yeah.
Sometimes 300 people, sometimes 100 people, sometimes 1,700 people. Absolutely. Every single time. But I always remember, what's the worst that can happen to me? Are they going to talk about me? They talk about me anyway. So
you talk about yourself.
Yeah. And so the thing is if you're doing public speaking, just remember, get out there and do the best you can do.
That's right.
And if you walk off that stage and you don't ask yourself, damn, how was that? Then you're not feeling the way you should be feeling. You should absolutely, because, you're in touch with yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had a comedian a couple of weeks ago come to Joe's, and he said, I only speak Spanish. And he wanted a guest spot. For those of you who don't know, a guest spot is when you pop up in a comedy club. You're not on the bill, but you want to do a few minutes, and you ask the producer if the producer's got a few minutes on the bill. They'll let you get
Interesting.
up. And I let him up. And this
Wow.
kid did a Spanish set for 5 minutes and he did great.
Wow.
And when he
Look at
got
that.
off stage, he goes, wow, that felt amazing. I go,
Amazing.
and guess what? Nobody beat you up. You're not going to jail. Nobody killed you. The worst possible things that can happen to you if you do something wrong. So
It's
I always encourage young comedians, those that take it serious. Those that take it serious, I am attached to. I can tell the ones that are just doing it to pasar tiempo, and
yeah.
it's like every other craft, you know.
Yeah, you gotta discipline yourself.
Yeah,
And even being booed to an extent
yeah,
is learning, right? The hard way.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure you were booed before, right? I mean, I
I
wouldn't
still
think
get
you were.
booed. I
Wow.
still get booed. I mean, I get booed every now and then, but here's the thing: do I get booed? Do I get booed and walk away and not learn from it? You know what I'm saying?
Of
You
course not.
because uh, having a microphone is a big ass command. It really is. It's a big having a microphone
You're
is,
right.
the people, when you hold the microphone, no matter what you do,
Yeah.
people are expecting you to
Yeah.
have command of that mic. Think about
Yes.
that. The
Yes.
pilot, right? The pilot, the conductor on the train, the announcer at a sports game, you have zero, 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 zero forgiveness and zero room for failure in the
Yes.
eyes of the people who are
Yes.
seeing you. They're
Yes.
like, Papa, you took the mic? Vamos, dame. And don't mess it up. I paid for this.
I think I feel right now. This is
Yeah,
crazy. This is awesome. Wow, Mikey, thank you. This is great. Now,
yeah,
I feel like comedy fuels you, right? At least I thought that was the
yeah,
only thing that fueled you until the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, everything shut down. Your shows, everybody's shows, sporting events, I mean, concerts, right? Everyone knows that.
yeah,
But something else fueled you that caught my attention, that caught a lot of people's attention, and that's your community work. Like that to me is probably top, right? Because it not only shows what we do, but it comes from a place within. And that's a
yeah,
reflection of who you are. And I love to see that. So tell me a little bit about the community aspect of Mikey O. You're not just a
yeah,
host, you're also hands-on, you know?
yeah.
Tell me a little bit
Well,
about
I
that.
will tell you this. I'm a product of amazing, beautiful things that are a part of my life. They're a part of who I am. They are part of my upbringing, and those are really simple things.
Yeah.
Tang, Tang,
Mm-hmm.
food stamps, the
Mm-hmm.
green card, la tarjeta médica, which is how that was our Blue Cross Blue Shield. Roaches,
Mm-hmm.
uh, dysfunctional parents, uh,
That's
seriously,
yeah,
la
true.
community, right? The thrift shop,
The thrift shop.
el
Wow.
secon,
El
el
seco.
secon, right?
El seco.
The Sunday super transfer. Those are all the
Wow, that
things that I'm a
Sunday.
part of. You know what I mean? But that's what I had to. Those are the things that I survived on. That was the best my parents could do for me.
You know,
You know what I'm saying?
that
And again, growing up in the times that I grew up in, for some reason, my parents who spoke no English, somehow in a country that was racist to them,
mhm.
right? We ate and we had clothes and we
Wow,
slept warm.
amazing.
And I think that it's impossible for me to make money in my community and not make that a possibility with just a few extra dollars here and there that I can donate, that I can move people to put together.
Yeah,
What I'm trying to tell you is it's impossible for me to take money from an audience and then turn my back on the audience when people are hungry, when people are cold, when people are not clothed. It's
true.
impossible. I'm not rich. I'm not rich, but I give what I can as often as I can. And when we were little kids, my house was the house where the battered wives went, where the
Mm,
runaway kids went. My
wow,
mother took everybody in and everybody ate,
look at
everybody.
that. Look at that.
And so it's something that my mother left in my heart, my father left in my heart.
Mm,
And it's important for me to do that, man.
that's
So,
beautiful.
I mean, that's me. I
That's
don't I don't try to sell that to anybody else, but I feel that I can't take money from this community and then turn my back on them
yeah.
when we have a pandemic
Mhm.
and when people are not working and people are not eating, and there seems to be this. But I'm going to tell you, I'm very proud of I'm Mike. I'm proud of you. I'm
Yeah,
proud
thank
of
you.
you. You were one of the activators, man. When things got bad during the pandemic, you were one of the guys that stepped up. What are we doing?
Yeah,
How do we do it? How can we help? When do we do it? How many people do we have to help?
yeah,
You were one of them. Isam from all the restaurants on Milwaukee Avenue,
yeah,
right? Manny Vez from St. Aloysius Church.
yeah,
A lot of people stepped up
yeah.
and were like, yo, you know what? They don't have, I got just a little more than them, and I'm going to split my pot.
That's
And that's
beautiful.
important.
That's beautiful. And it all
Yeah.
comes back, right? At the end of the day, again, it's a reflection of who you are and how your upbringing has just manifests itself on the outside when
Yeah, man.
the heat is on. Yeah. So I mean that's beautiful. And I don't want to again keep you on the line for so long, but as we bring this plane to a landing, I guess you have you do 80 over 80 shows a year, Mikey. Over 80
That's right.
shows a
So,
year.
yeah. So I want to give everybody just an understanding of what the pandemic did. Up until the pandemic, I was on a roll. I was doing 80 to 90 shows a year. In 2019, I closed 2019 with 101 shows. And in the pandemic, I did 6 and they were all virtual.
Yes, I remember.
So from 101 to 6, all virtual.
Yeah.
In 2021, I ended up with 16 and 5 virtual. But here's
Wow.
what I want you to know. God did not take one breadcrumb away from me.
Look at that. That's
Not one.
beautiful.
Money was falling out of the sky.
Look at that.
And what did we do with that money? As God is my witness, we put it right back in the community because we knew we were being looked after so that the stuff we were doing, the work we were doing would continue.
Look at that.
And so whoever was getting money from us when things were good was still getting money from us when things hit the fan. And so I consider myself very, very blessed. When I was reading stories online about people being, one entire family dead, leaving behind 9 kids. I mean, that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would say,
Rough.
I don't have any problems. People would say to me, well, I don't have any problems.
We lost.
I would have to snap out of it myself and say, wait a minute, you're complaining because no, you don't have any problems. Cálmate, sangano.
Cálmate.
You don't have any.
Zángano.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zángano. Entonces, look, what's next?
Yeah, I'm excited to be back in the theater scene with my one-man shows. Of course, so that for the audience that's watching, I will be, and I'm going to brag for a moment. I will be the first Puerto Rican producer, Latino producer from Chicago to put up a show, to associate produce a show in New York City at the Kennedy Center for the Arts, March 24, 25, 26. And then all of our other theater and comedy stuff is up and running. Jerry Rivera, Ana Belavad. I just booked Mark Vieira yesterday and Marcelo Hernandez. I'm excited about Marcelo Hernandez coming to Chicago.
This is
we're working on 2 major acts. There's a bunch of great stuff that's happening. And I want you guys to know that the most important thing, if I could leave here with this, podcast interview today, is that I am well aware of the fact that I am nobody without the audience that follows me. And I appreciate your support, and I appreciate your support over the years. This was a hobby that turned into a business, and this was a blessing that indirectly has allowed me to bless others. So I appreciate when you come to my shows, I want you to know I don't sit there and say, yeah, I'm Mikey O. People follow me. That's not me.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
So,
and I
I
think everybody definitely knows who really knows you knows that, man, that's just who Mikey is, right? And they don't see el orgulloso, they see the humble guy, right? And that's beautiful because you're still humble, you're still funny, and you can still be a sangano, right? So we love you.
man.
Even when you're a sangano, we love you, bro.
Yeah, man. Listen, Mike, and I'm going to tell you again, man. I really admire you. I appreciate you. I've often told people, if you want to know how to brand, you've got to follow this guy, Mike. He knows how to brand, and he knows what he's doing. And again, You're going to do very well in everything you do, Mike. You want to know why?
Thank you.
Because again, it goes back to very simple, really simple, simple math. You got 1 foot in the community and 1 foot in your work. And you just cannot fail. You just cannot fail. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right. And it's, again, it's giving back. And that's, for me, is just pouring into other people, whether it's just time, talent, or treasure, whatever we can give out of that. It makes life worth living. So
let me read this text. Hold on.
Please.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but let me read this text.
Yeah.
The text is from my agent, and it says, if he keeps you on for 2 more minutes, it's $1,200. I gotta go, bro.
I gotta go. Mikey, thank you so much for being with us. Hey, if everybody wants, please go ahead and go to MikeyOshow.com, purchase your tickets, subscribe to his shows. You guys gotta visit him, and of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mike the Realtor, where you're going to see many, many more interviews, real talk, real life with real Mike. Till next time, everybody, thanks for hanging out. Subscribe to my show, Mike Talk. Thank you. Peace out. Mikey, thank you, guys. Bye-bye.